What's up, everybody? Josh Lander here from the NFL Coast to Coast podcast on thelines.com, coming at you with 3 prize pick plays that I put together to put down $100, win $450 back on my money here. I want to run through all 3 of them with you, but I want to explain to you as well that we've got what's called a goblin and demon play involved here. The goblin play is where you get a slightly easier play, more likely to happen, but you get a slightly lower payout on your money. That's my first pick because I'm taking an Isaiah Pacheco touchdown as my first pick here on PrizePicks. I think in this one, you've got about minus 115 is the best juice that you'll find on regular sports books. On PrizePicks, they are giving it to you at a nice little easy, helpful, I would say, prop to add to your play here because I do think it's super likely to happen. For Pacheco, what I would go through here is he's recorded one of these in 7 straight games. I guess that's a good place to start. 11 of his 17 games overall this season. Pretty nice 65% success rate. And he's been super involved in all of these games going in the playoffs for the Chiefs specifically, where he's gotten 3 touchdowns in their 3 games, 63 carries in those 3 games, and 254 yards over that time span. So he's also got the 6 receptions for 27 yards. I do think there's the possibility he picks this up as a receiving touchdown, which is fine because the prop here on PrizePicks is that it's a rushing or receiving touchdown that they can get. The only other thing here I would say for Pacheco is this SF run D, the 49ers, it's good. It's just not as good as its pass defense, right? And so there is going to be the need to get to the rush and to rush to the edges for this team because I think they are a bit more vulnerable as you see these defensive linemen and on the edge, specifically for the 49ers, like a Nick Bosa, just pinning their ears back for the most part and knowing that their job is strictly to pressure the quarterback and worry slightly less about the run. As a result, you can get outside and then there's a bunch of space. And once Isaiah Pacheco gets around the edge, he's really tough to bring down. Stays in bounds, I should say, really well also. So the yards might be there for him, but I love the touchdown because I think they'll be feeding him as soon as they get into the red zone with Travis Kelce potentially slightly bottled up with the best linebacking core, especially pass coverage linebackers for the 49ers on him all game. The second play here is Patty Mahomes, and we're going rushing attempts, over 4.5 rushing attempts. That's a normal bet here on PrizePicks that you can get. This is just strictly a play on him doing this in games that matter, aka the postseason, and even more important than that, specifically the Super Bowl, right? For Patty, over the last basically 6 playoff games that he's played, he's gotten no interceptions, which I also like as a bet for him, and he's also rushed the ball here at least 6 times in 3 of the last 4 playoff games, and 5 of the last 6. So I think this is another good opportunity to say he's going to have to get outside a bit on one of the best pass rushes in the NFL, one that actually forced the 8th most rushing attempts from quarterbacks on the season. To show really what the uptick looks like for Mahomes once he gets into the playoffs, he does average 4.7 rushing attempts in the regular season over his career, 5.1 in the playoffs that he's been in every year since 2019. So yeah, obviously this is a situation where whenever he gets into these tough games, he knows that he can put the ball down and tuck it and run. The Super Bowl as well, the 3 that he's played, 6 rushing attempts, 5 rushing attempts, 9 rushing attempts against the San Francisco 49ers, the last time that these 2 teams played in the Super Bowl. So final bet here on PrizePicks to get myself to that plus 450 on my money. We are going to be going with Deebo Samuel to get 17.5 rushing yards. It's a little bit steep on PrizePicks, but it also rose on the regular sports books as well, where it was about 16.5, and people started to hit that because they liked him to get those rushes. Similar concept as what you see with Patty Mahomes when it comes to rushes for the wide receiver here, Deebo Samuel, for the 49ers. Also basically a running back once he gets the ball in his hands, is probably a good bet to keep getting the ball as a rusher in these games that matter. So in 8 of his 11 playoff games for his career, he's gone over 2.5 rushing attempts. And I do think he's good for about 8.5 rushing yards or so per rush attempt if you look at how he normally does this in the playoffs. I would say it's actually 8 out of 10 games because he only played a 14% snap share when they played the Packers earlier in these playoffs because he was still coming off of an injury. Now he's definitely healthy, and even if he wasn't, there's no way that Deebo is not going to be heavily participating in this game. So I think that the rushing attempts would be good for him, but they don't have that on PrizePicks. So the rushes, the rushing yards, if you think he's going to get 3 rushes, which I do think 3 is a really good number for him, I think he's good for about 6 rushing yards per attempt, which is what he does normally in his career as well. So that is all the time I have for you in this one, though. Definitely want to go over to PrizePicks, check them out. Make sure you check out the green goblins and the little red demons that are sort of indicating whether you get a better payout for a harder bet, or for a slightly less likely bet, I should say, or a slightly worse payout, but a more likely outcome with your play. Best of luck to everybody in the Super Bowl, and until I see you next, happy betting.